Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. And it's always a pleasure to welcome to the studio yet another candidate in our live election night coverage. I think he was probably watching at his watch party and said, Johnny needs some help. And here he is to give us just that.
Yeah, pretty much. A couple people jumped up there and said, "Hey, you know what? Johnny K's looking for you, and Donnie Johnson's sitting there smacking him around." So here I am. Came to make sure Donnie can stop smacking you around.
I appreciate that.
That's him.
Now you're in trouble. The police are here.
Well,
I-
we said good things about you.
Oh, really?
Said
Good.
I did
Good,
say
good.
good things about you.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
All right, so I will ask you the first question that I really ask any candidate who comes in. Again, thank you. How did the day go today? Take us through what you did, what you saw, who you talked to, and how you feel things went.
Well, it's 15 voting precincts, and I went to all 15 and actually hit 2 of them twice. So I made my rounds, talked to tons of people. I don't have any idea how many people I talked to and how many sample ballots I gave out, and shook hands and different things like that. The feel was good, but it's also one of those things where you're nervous about results and you're nervous about outcomes of certain things. And this was one of those days where you're nervous. Kind of like when you're stepping to the plate and your coach tells you got to hit a deep fly ball to get the run in, and you're pushing as hard as you can to make that swing. But baseball analogy is kind of my thing, but it's the easiest way to put it. It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure
Hey, you're
throughout
talking
this
to
whole
a
thing.
baseball man.
Yeah,
here,
exactly.
so,
It's been a lot of pressure. That's for sure.
Don't you mean? I'm sorry. I was going to make an old joke, but I won't because we have a guest here.
Yeah.
I apologize. So what kind of feedback have you gotten today? Where do you feel you're at right now?
I mean, I don't know, really. Honestly, this is the first time I've ever done one of these. So I've seen other candidates go through this and seen other sheriff's races and presidential races and all that stuff. And you just don't know until until the end of it. I'd hate to make a prediction and, look like the wrong prediction.
We had John in here, John Russell, and he made a statement I think is pretty good. He said the election is yours to lose.
I think that's a valid statement.
I think it is too.
I can tell you that I don't think there's anything that I could have done that I did not do. And I think that's me laying all the cards on the table and doing 100% of exactly what I said I was going to do. I didn't throw any mud. I didn't get in the smear campaigns. I didn't do any of that. I think Culpepper was and is finally done with this crazy, horrible bipartisan politics where everybody just beats each other up constantly. I have so many people on both sides of the fence that have supported me through this. I really believe it's pretty powerful.
I want to ask you something. You've got a good job.
Yeah.
With the town police.
Absolutely.
A good paying job.
A great job.
You're
Yeah.
going to get good benefits
Sure.
when you retire. Why would you give that up to take a job where you have to, I won't even say the word, every 4 years to the taxpayers
You
and
know
the
what?
voters to get elected again? I've seen people who
Sure.
get, especially in the sheriffs, you make a lot of enemies, and every
You
4
do.
years,
You do.
you got to kiss butt to try to get
And
elected
I
again.
wouldn't, obviously, I'm not going to sit here and throw shade on anybody, but some of the things that came to me with some of the folks that pushed for the steering committees. So one of the steering committees that started was about 5 or 6 years ago, and they begged and pleaded and said, you got to run, you got to run, you got to run. I'm like, absolutely not. I'm not going to get involved with the politics stuff. It's just too cutthroat. I know me. I'm not the kind of person that can just sit there and let somebody beat on you constantly. But I did let people beat on me this time. It was hard, and I'll let you, there's the Facebook rants, the fake profiles, all the crazy stuff that people were doing. So I took a lot of heat, and I took a lot of stuff that I probably wouldn't have normally taken, but I honestly believe that is for the best opportunity to make some changes for the county. And I think I can make those changes.
Well, if you're in public office, you got to take the heat.
Absolutely.
If you can't
You're
take the
100%.
heat, you want to stay
Yeah.
out of politics.
No, you're exactly right.
Because, and you're pretty level guy,
Sure.
and you don't get up and down a whole lot. Not that I've seen.
No.
And I think you do a good job as sheriff.
Yeah, if I'm the one that's elected, I think I'll definitely make some big changes. I think it'll be it'll be a benefit for the county. Somebody said something about agent of change. I don't know if that's definitely a moniker that I could carry, but I believe it's going to benefit everybody. I think by holding the spot where each side is able to come to me, and that's one of the things I kept telling people. They were like, why did you run independent? I have never heard a police officer in all of my years, 27, almost 27 years, go to somebody when they go to a call and say, are you Democrat or are you Republican, before they take the call. So it has no business, as far as I'm concerned, in the sheriff's office. I really don't even like it in the Commonwealth Attorney's race, but of course we know Russ ran as a Republican, and Russ is going to do a great job. Paul did a great job, all the years that he's been there. We've had some great Commonwealth attorneys. We've had some great sheriffs. So I'm hoping I'm going to be one of those great sheriffs at some point.
So I will ask you again, ever the optimist. Let's say the numbers come your way. What are some of the first things you do? What are the first things you look at? What direction? What first step do you take in that direction?
Honestly, that's one of those plans that you try to make throughout this whole process. And I think I've got a million holes in the plan. So it's probably going to be pushing the plan together so that the plan has a solid base. Hopefully that means with the county, with maybe even with Scott, if I'm the one that's elected, getting us together and doing a smooth transition of things. I know there's always, in the bigger races, there's a transition team. I would love to see that. I don't know if that's possible in local smaller races. I don't know. This is all a learning experience for me, so I'm still trying to get it too. But I think it's going to be good.
Well, let's face it, the sheriff anymore is not two guns on his hip and he
No.
goes out. I mean, the sheriff is an administrator.
Absolutely.
And one of the first things you're going to have to do is get a budget together
Sure.
for next year. That's
Absolutely.
and if you take office on the 1st of January, and I mean, that budget has got to be ready to go. So that's a big thing.
Yeah.
There are things that you don't think
Sure.
about. The
Budget
average
teams
person
are-
doesn't.
I think the budget team, for my biggest piece, is finding somebody that can help with the budget placement. Budget placement for the county all along is going to be, it has to go with the county administrator, and it has to go with all the folks that have a piece of that pie. There's been some talk with different people throughout this process about doing different pieces with the budget, doing some of it in quarters instead of doing an annual budget. I'm not opposed to all that. I'm open for suggestions when it comes to that. You know how our budget at the PD, obviously, and not talking about the PD per se, but our budget is an annual budget, is biannual, and it comes through the fiscal year. So the fiscal year budget for us, I mean, we're operating with a $7.5 million budget, and we have a team, we have a group that does that. And I don't think you can operate with one or two people building your budget. If you don't have a bunch of different eyes in it, I think you're opening yourself up for problems.
Well, that's going to be it's going to be one of your first challenges.
Sure.
And
Absolutely.
I think you'll handle it if you're elected.
Sure.
But you got some good I think Scott's going to get a lot of votes.
Sure he will.
I
Absolutely.
think so. And
Scott's got a strong following. Like I said, I'm certainly not here to throw shade on anybody. I don't know much about Watson's following or whatever, but Scott certainly has a strong following.
well, Joe has worked hard.
Yeah, he did.
He has.
He was a fixture up here for a couple of weeks, so he
Yeah.
certainly was up there.
I remember when he was a detective I forget who was the sheriff. It might have been Branch.
Branch, yeah, he was. in
Yeah,
Branch,
it was Jim.
like 12, 13 years ago.
Never see Jim anymore.
I haven't seen him in years.
I think he's still down in Richardsville.
All right. Real quick, we're going to check. I believe we're starting to get numbers in. Before you go, I had the opportunity to talk with Miss Melson. With all the work that goes into this race, we've talked about it a couple times over the past months because we work together at the police department.
Absolutely.
Is there any particular people that you want to say thank you to? I mean, I know this is not a solo effort.
Oh man, this was a huge effort by. We had a small group. Our group was very small. Jason Deal, Nick White, Pat Coffey, Bill Hutchison, Christy Chilton, of course, my parents, all the folks that were in the middle of helping and just kind of pushing, a ton of different folks throughout the town and county. Chris Jenkins, everybody has been solid with me doing this. And I wasn't sure about doing it with working at the PD. So I had to go to town manager Hobley, had to go to my boss, which is Chris Settle, had to go to my boss then, which was Chris Jenkins, and make sure we were all solid with me throwing my hat in the ring, and everybody's been real supportive of it. So Definitely one of those things.
All right, wonderful.
And certainly my kids too.
Is this probably going to happen? Okay. Would you look at that? As we're on the air, we have some results. Do you want to step away or do you want to be right here?
Oh, I don't care.
All right. All right. So, folks, I'm going to go ahead since we have this. Oh, you know what I just did? Go ahead and pull that off, Nicole. Thank you. We're going to stream down since we have you here. We do have a number of results coming in. I'm going to scroll down to the one that we have the individual with right now. Now, again, we do have a number of individuals that are not. We have some numbers that still have to be counted. And again, everything is unofficial until it is certified. All right, so if we could pull up that number on the board, Tim, I will let you know that we have some precincts. We currently have one precinct reporting. I could go into the details, but as you can see, you currently are leading with 446 votes to Scott Jenkins' 247 and Joe Watson's 165. So again, as we see, one of 16 precincts reporting. You have to be pretty happy with how the first batch of numbers have come in.
It's not bad. That's a 2-to-1 margin, which is not a horrible start. You don't know how you're going to hold that. I don't know which precinct that is, but you certainly you got to work hard to hold it.
Okay. Well, I know we have a lot to get to. I know you have a lot to get to as well. Any parting thoughts?
No, just looking forward to if I'm a guy elected. Hopefully, I'll be able to make everybody proud of what I'm going to do.
I'm sure you will.
Yeah, I will. I'll definitely work hard for it. So we'll see. And I appreciate you guys. This is always one of those things where you look forward to and you never think you're going to be the guy sitting in front of you too. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Who knew?
Who
right?
knew? Exactly.
I just
All
make
right,
sure
man.
you watch your step as you exit.
Okay. See you guys.
Take care.
All right.
kid.
So again, ladies and gentlemen, the results are beginning to come in.